Hello, YouTube land. This is Brentonsawin coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky, the Bluegrass State. If anyone out there has a story they'd like to share on the show, you can contact me at brentonsawin@gmail.com. I'll leave that in the description. If you want to contribute to help with this show, you can go to PayPal Me link in the description, and it's very much appreciated and very much needed with this YouTube, the way that they've been doing us here lately. So thank you to everybody that has, and God bless you. Well, today we have some Bigfoot stuff from the Northwest, and his name is Griz Ryan, and we're just going to go to our guest and let him tell whatever he wants to about himself and tell his stories. Hello, Griz. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. I appreciate this show here to be able to share what I got to share. My first encounter started out at a camping ground out towards the place called Daybreak. Camping ground me and my father had been to actually quite a few years in a row, quite often. And there was one occasion where it was me, my father, and two of our neighbor boys. They were a little older than me. And I was going to fish at the back pond off of the section that we camped at. There was the Lewis River and a pond that I'd like to go back and bass fish. I knew I'd always get a hit. And I'm just back there fishing, having a good old time, and I'd gone back to the camp, and on my way back, there was a new trail that the owners of the property had put in that went over a little bit of a creek or a runoff that went into the main river, the Lewis, and they made a nice bridge. And something out of my peripheral made me stop, kind of look that way, and I saw something moving. And my first thought was, what's going to be moving through a creek bed like that? Giant snake, alligator. I was only 12 years old. I just couldn't quite make it out, but I heard a voice in my head say, "Don't go that direction." Basically, end your curiosity right there. And I heeded that. I didn't go that direction. I went back to my camp, and I was a little overtaken by the voice in my head that said that very clearly, but I heeded it, and ended up going back to the pond and fishing and doing things throughout the day. And at dusk, me and my father and some friends, and my father did let me drink once in a while, and he let me have a few beers, and the other guys were having a few beers, and we went towards the back side of the campground, and my buddy and me were taking a leak, and we both heard branches breaking at the back side of the pond. And it was like big branches. I'm kind of overtaken by the sounds, and my buddy finishes his beer, lifts up, and throws his beer bottle as hard as he can. And I can hear that thing whistling back towards the end of the pond, and we're talking 30 feet. And that thing hit water, and whatever was back there let out the hugest growl / scream that no man could do, that reverberated through us, and I was beside myself. And it not only did that, but it was about 15 seconds of a howl / growl, and this thing's busting off through the wilderness without a care. And you could hear it leave. And it was 10 feet from there to the campground where we had a nice fire going, and my father had a weapon, and he saw the fear in my eyes and my friend's eyes and was like, "Do we leave? Do you want to leave?" And I was like, "No, we don't." Whatever was there took off, and it was gone for the night. But the experience was something that started this whole gears turning on, my mind on what could it possibly be? What's going to put a fear in me and not? I just knew no man was going to be back there at the back end of this pond where I'd fished. I had tried to get back there and couldn't. I'm like, "No, man, it's a nice spot." But anyways, yeah.
They seem to get angry real easy, don't they?
When you take them by surprise, like I said, I think because whatever was small enough to be in this creek bed was tracking me. And I had a weird feeling that day.
Right.
And so something was hanging out, and I was the smallest of everybody. I was only 12 years old, and this thing could have easily overpowered me. I have no doubt of that. And I don't know about youngsters now after all the stories I've heard. But this thing was checking us out from the backside of the pond, trying to sneak up on us, but it wasn't so light-footed in a marshy area with sticks that easily break. Because I wasn't going to go back there.
So
I was trying.
So when it was breaking branches, you could tell that it was soap that was really big branches, and it had to be something powerful. Is that what you're saying?
I had been camping enough times to know that if something's going to go making noise around an area that's got some trees around the backside and nothing but marshy area with blackberries and just smaller branches and something be stomping around there,
yeah,
he's got a good reason to be back there.
Yeah.
And no human would do that. And the sound that it made was a howl. I can almost do it myself because I've got messed up vocals when I scream. It's like an elephant. An elephant's, it makes a little bit of a rumble in the vocal.
Yeah.
And it was so deep. I camped out there many times after that, but you know what? I never fished in that pond again. I never went to look for footprints, and that's strange to me now because I'm intrigued by this creature that I've heard so much more about than just my interactions with it.
Right.
It's very intelligent, and I'm fearful of it now because I know it's just as intelligent as myself, but 100 times stronger.
Right. And you know, it seems like you hear that a lot too. That hearing that voice, "Don't go there." That's really odd too, and having that feeling. Even the dogs seem to pick it up before people do. You know, it's why would the dogs fear it if they've never seen it, or you know what I'm saying? It's odd, isn't it?
The only thing I can say to the dog thing is I'm an old soul, I think, and I've lived in a lot of different houses, and I see my pit bulls actually watching things I can't see. Spirits.
Yeah.
I feel their presence. It makes my hair stand up. A lot of us have more of a powerful spirit than others, and I think some of us like to interact. And so the dogs kind of have more senses, and I think the experience I just went over there wasn't the greatest of all my experiences. I've got 3 total that really, really are remarkable. And I've never got to lay eyes on the creature. I almost think it's a good thing because I've had visions afterwards. But so that was around the age of 12. And so many years later, I'm actually, you know, on my grandfather's property, and I'm camping out under a tree. And circumstances that be, I'm alone, and I'm not in this situation. I've got a 357 with me because I just know that there's cougar. I even, just to be comfortable to sleep, pissed around, cleaned out around this tree, pissed around the perimeter, and made my mark. Because I know that makes a difference. I don't believe in tents. It's weird. It's weird after I heard that thing. I don't like tents. I'll sleep under the stars because I'd much rather be able to get to running if something's going to come at me. And I've done it many times, slept under the stars. I fear nothing, and this thing has me intrigued and thinking we're not the apex, you know, creature of this forest because I'm under a tree, and I'd been out there for three days, and it's the 4th night, and that following morning, just as the sun's raising some light, something wakes me, and all I hear is this gastrical bowel movement. And awakening to that caught me off guard because I couldn't make that sound, and I'm in a sleeping bag, actually even covered with a tarp because it was a real stormy part of the season. For reasons I won't get into, I'm out on my grandfather's property, and this creature, or whatever it be, it awoke me and left a pile of excrement that looked so human. And because I had cleared all around this tree and marked my territory, and we're talking a good territory. I'd laid down fresh boughs before I put my sleeping bag in a tarp and my 357 to give you my protection against anything that moved. And it was the night before I heard bipedal foots, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to freak myself out. But I know now I should have looked up in the tree probably, because that's the only way it could have gone that quick. Because I looked right away. That thing was fucking making a sound out its butt, leaving a pile on the ground where it wasn't before. And it's got this guy thinking that they're a lot closer than most people think. You know, we're invading their land.
You said that you smelled like a horrible, horrible smell that you'd never smelled nothing like before, too, right?
No, absolutely just the opposite, my friend.
Well, when it flatulanced, I thought you said that you smelled like a really bad, like something.
No. That's the weird thing. I didn't even. My brain was so focused on the loudness. What I was hearing, just waking up and looking around and not seeing anything, and then investigating a little closer and seeing it was right by me. This thing was right next to me. And the only way it could have gone was up in the tree. And it's weird because I'm tripped out now because something didn't want me to look up.
Yeah, at one point, didn't you say you heard like a thud, like something jumped out of the tree? Or was that the night before?
Later at sundown. Yeah, it was later. It was later. It's that thing. I believe that thing stayed in the tree until it was just starting to get dark. Because I had heard the night before bipedal, maybe just a little movement through the leaves. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't want to freak myself out because I was alone. And
maybe he was already in that tree. That was his lookout tree, and then you came there.
It was the biggest tree on the property. It was the biggest tree on the property.
Yeah.
It was my grandpa's 10 acres with 2 ponds that he built a house on when I was a kid, and we lived.
Do you have a really good
2
view?
minutes?
Do you have a good view from that vantage point, from that tree?
Oh, my friend, it was so in the woods up on a hillside. Because the reason I was there is I was almost being just like him. I wanted to be unseen. I was dealing with some things in life that I chose my grandfather's property. He'd already been gone for a while. And I almost think that those things are, because I grew up out there. Where I went is where I grew up. I believe these things stay in the same territory, and they raise family like we do. Because I used to climb those same trees when I was a youngster. They're 70 feet tall. I used to climb 3/4 of the way up with one of the neighbor gals, and it was a competition. And I know if I knew now what I knew, if I could go back then, it's like I would look for signs and probably could have done a lot more. I could have done some more to maybe learn about them. Because what I know about them now is they seem like they're pretty powerful creatures that have been here a lot longer than us, and they know the ways of the land. They don't have one up on us, they've got many up on us. And the stories I've heard, it's something. You don't go up in the woods alone no more. Not if you're smart. Yeah. I don't.
Well, in that situation, I think that he was in his lookout tree because it was the biggest tree there, and you came up and marked your territory around it, and then all of a sudden slept, and he was trapped up in that tree, and he had to wait till dark to get out, and he probably had to use the bathroom there, and then he ended up doing it right there where you were at.
I think
That's a guess.
I think their eyes work pretty good because he's seen that gun. It was a Dirty Harry 357. It barely fit in my pocket when I walked in to that land and I made my territory, and I put the tarp down. I put that 357 on the ground, and I made a pillow of it because I sleep lightly. So whatever woke me up had microseconds to do what it was going to do. It only could have gone up. And I'm mad at myself now for not looking up. But I would have shit my pants. I would have shot at it. I'm that kind of guy. It would have killed me. I would have fucking took a round at him. From what I've heard those things ripping deer's heads off. Men have pissed their pants seeing the strength of these things because I'm not your average guy. I can beat the shit out of your average guy. These things can take my ass, throw it up in a tree, kill my pit bulls that are bad as fuck, and I'm just like, dead. Game over. I want to learn about them. I don't want them to kill me. I want to make friends with them. I don't want to make enemies with them.
Yeah.
Because they're here. They're here everywhere. And I'm right off the freeway right here on 3 acres off the 205, where I-5 and 205 comes together. And I've got nothing but big acreage behind me with all kinds of animals and trees and this and that. It doesn't take me far to get to where I can show signage.
All right. So, your first encounter was when you were 12, and that encounter was what? How old were you then, you think?
Okay, so, well, you just actually, I stated I was 12 years old, so you want the year. So that was holy shit, back in 1986, 1987, me and Pops, because we really spent a lot of time out there. My dad was having a hard time himself, and I was just a kid. Right. I went to 10 different schools, and that really messed with the guy.
So there was still, what I was getting at is that you're of the age where when you were 12, the term Bigfoot was already out there and stuff like that.
Well, hell, no, I did. That's what sidetracks me now. Is back then. That's what amazes me is I had no clue. I was an intellectual kid, and I was like, what in the hell? My memory bank and my intellect, I had dealt with nothing that sounded like that. I wasn't even looking at this creature, and I feared it.
Had you ever seen like the Patterson-Gimlin footage or anything like that?
I did, and I thought it was total. I thought nothing of it. I'm like, honestly, to be 110% true, I thought that was someone in a suit. It looked fake to me. It looked too, what in the hell kind of creature is going to be like, look at me, walk across this thing, look over at you if it doesn't want to be seen. And I can never find it when I live out in the country, and I respect the country. I respect everything. And that night that, what really makes me think now is they can totally make you think that there's a coyote in a field and it's not a coyote. If they get your mind thinking on them, they take over your mind. I absolutely think they're not of this world. They're not an animal. They are a being. They're an entity.
Yeah, I tend to think that they're Nephilim or hybrid.
Oh, well, I think we're all a little mixture of something. You know, the Bible only gives us so much. The Bible is written by man.
But we're here
things that aren't explained.
We're here to hear your theories, and pretty much people know mine. So that was your second. So you went through 2 encounters, and then you had another one.
Okay, so I actually had a vision. I want to get on. These things can not only come close to you physically. I believe these things are powerful enough to come to you spiritually. And yes, I've had one other encounter up towards Hyacinth, but the storyline that really this whole they can come to you in your dreams. I believe this because the same thing, the same fear, the same feeling, and it's like there's no Hollywood movie that's going to cover what came at me. Because so I told you the third one I went up to Hyacinth with my pit bull, and this was only my boy Grizzly. I'm only 3 years ago up at Gifford Pinch. The hard road turns to gravel, and I had done a bunch of research. I wanted to see signs. I did tree knocking. I really wanted to hear something back. I didn't think that it'd be close, and so I had my pit bull with me, and I go down by the river, and the river's just really loud. And I'm like, you know what? What's going to impress these things the most if I'm going to come up here and make them talk back to me? Because I believe in them. So I just make the biggest growl, and I can growl. I mean, if you can record the shit, I'll yell on the phone. But it's deep. I'm only 5'7", but there's a big spirit in this body, and I gave him the best fucking growl how I could give him. I'm like, I'm up here, you motherfuckers. What do you got to say?
Try to watch the language little now, all right?
Oh, because YouTube?
Because kids some watch it too. I have
So I didn't hear anything, and I'm up on a big rock, where most people don't want to climb onto, and it's up above rough water. And I've got my pit bull with me, Grizzly, and I've got him chained to a tree. I've got his ass connected to a tree, and I'm just making a loud noise and not getting any response. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Just letting my spirit guide me, and there's another little trail that goes up above where my truck was parked, and I only got about 100 yards up this trail, and I start seeing signs. There's a huge old growth. This thing, I walk up to it, put my arms around it, and I've got about a quarter of it. It's old, it's been cut, it's rotten, and it just looks torn to shit. And then right next to that's a 4 to 5 inch sapling, and about 3 foot up, it snapped, and it's pointed across this little creek. So I look that way. I'm like, okay, they say look the way it snapped, and the whole hillside opposite of it has fresh branches from trees above. And it just looks like something crazy's gone on, and I had the feeling just it's not a good place to be. Because I looked down at my pit bull, and I was going to maybe walk a little farther in. I'm a little gutsy like that, and he wouldn't move. And I respect my pit bull a lot. I love him. Had him for a while, and I could see he was scared. And I'm like, okay, buddy, let's go back to the truck. Get you in the truck where you feel safe. And he scaredly gets in the truck, and I'm feeling strange about the whole incident. I feel special, and I wanted to take something with me, and I did. I grabbed a rock to remind the whole incident, because there was something at that point, and I've heard enough other stories that, it's an entry point. So it's not a place for humans to be dinking around, I don't think. My dog let me know that, and I could sense it. I think these things are way more, they have abilities that maybe we've been dumbed down to, because they get in your head.
There's a lot of people that believe that way. I mean, there's a lot of people that believe that, and the alien thing. There's people that believe the woo thing. So there's a lot of different theories. Some people think they're just apes. Some people think they're Nephilim. So, I mean, it's just a whole gamut of theories out there. But they seem to have some kind of spiritual side to them. If they're Nephilim, they would have a spiritual side, most likely, and the things you say probably wouldn't be too far-fetched. So, about coming to you in a dream. I think it was that guy that does the Survivor stuff. Yeah, I think
Guyville.
He said he fell asleep one time and one came to him.
Bear Guyville. I'm about ready to buy one of his hatchets and axe kits to go up in the hills, and I really want to see one eye to eye. I'm not ballsy, but I won't do it alone. and I want to do it respectfully because I believe that it's like there's some kind of, I don't know, there's a lot going on in this world, but I believe that they almost need a mediator because they're real and I think they really want to get along with us. Because my interactions, I've heard about them throwing rocks at girls in between the shoulder blades and hurting them, and I can't help but get upset at them because those are they're my fellow humans. So just imagine when one of us go up there and disrespect them. They're so much more crazier than us, and I'm different-minded, and it's like I almost think that we share this planet, and a lot of us don't want to believe that.
Yeah. I mean, I know of people that wish to have an encounter and they had one. Scared them pretty bad.
I don't doubt that. Like I said, so we touched on they can come to you. I think in our dreams, because I'll say this out loud. I am a true believer that our dreams are a big part of our life. I digest my dreams when I wake up in the morning. I write them down. I just recently had a juvenile come to me in my dreams, and he had purpose. He ran. It was weird. I'm in a dream, and I'm by a tree orchard, and I see something run faster than I know a man can run around the backside of the orchard and come and flank us and come right at us and grab two trees and shake them like I know no man could do. And this thing was taller than 7 foot. And it gave me this look like, what do you want to do? What are you going to do? Like, check this out, mother effer. And I'm like, I was in a dream, and I woke up from that point going, oh, my God.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look in the Bible, man, there's a lot of stories where angels went to people in dreams and gave them messages, like the wise men and Joseph.
I believe in all that. Yeah,
I mean, real angels went to people in their real dreams.
Messengers. Oh God, it has to be. It has to be. Well, in such a vast universe, this is just one ball of iron and dirt that, geez, it's like one grain of sand, man. This planet's a grain of sand in a universe. This is Satan's. I believe I came down here for a purpose. I'm just preparing for when the day God comes back and wants to use my spirit as a warrior, because I don't think it's going to be a battle of the flesh. This is going to be a battle of the spirits. I truly believe that, and I say that deeply, confidently, and I hope everybody listening really gets deep in their soul, because you're more than just flesh and bones. And those creatures that are out there can look right through your flesh and bones. They know you before you even come into their ground.
So if you was to go out there, if you was to go out there and try to, see one or something, you've got someone that you would trust to take with you.
It's like this: the only buddies I would trust to take with me are the ones I know wouldn't back down.
Yeah.
Problem is they don't respect. They don't have the respect I have. And I think that's what the Bigfoot looks for. He sees what kind of a color we emanate. And I've even had dogs not like some of my hunter buddies. I've got pit bulls that are pretty sensitive girls, and they don't like my buddies that are hunters because they're killers. They don't want to make friends with somebody that doesn't care about another being spirit. And I believe dogs have spirits, and so do these creatures. They're not an animal.
Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend you go out there alone and do it. Like, you was even saying you probably.
I used to. I used to, and now I keep freaking bugging my good friends that I know won't run to go up there, and none of them have time, and it's only the last couple of weeks. I even told my mom. I said, "Geez, is this really going to become some kind of weird battle between this planet and the beings that have been here before us? Because we are not the original ones, in my mind. We've been kind of manipulated, and we're hybrids. I believe God made my spirit. I'm an old soul, but this vessel is just a vessel. And so these creatures are amazing. their power is something to be respected, because they, with just a swipe, they fucking rip a deer's head off and you're done. Just
yeah, man. I've seen them push trees over, man. Big trees too, not
I've only
trees.
seen the aftermath. I haven't been privileged enough to hear. And that's what trips me out, is I build my buddies 4x4s. I think that's what makes it so we don't hear it, is I build 450 horse small blocks for 4x4s, and we go up in the woods and we tear the shit up. And these things hear us coming for so long, and my buddies, they carry 45 pistols. It's guys that have all kinds of firepower. And these things, they sense that. But the few times I've been up there by myself in the areas, unarmed, just fishing, they get close to us. So I know that we're not just dealing with something that's going to, like a bear. Just take it. Well, smells human. Go up there and eat this son of a bitch, and he finds out there's a 30-30 at the end of this sniffing trail. This Bigfoot, he already knows.
Yeah, that's
you ain't gonna take a pot shot at Bigfoot.
The only way you're gonna have an encounter, in my opinion, is if you surprise one, which is not real likely. It happens some, but to go up there where you see the arches and you see the X's and you see this break, the tree breaks and stuff, and camp. And they'll get curious and they'll come look. But it's usually going to be in the night, and they sometimes will wait till you're asleep.
But you're so far up there. I tell you what, just to do that, you're making a special trip to do that. And the experience that you're going to get, it really is not an enjoyable one. And God showed me that. I went up there to Gifford Pinch, where I hadn't heard the stories that I've heard online until after I'd been up there myself with my pit bull. I grabbed my pit bull after hearing a couple stories, and I hugged him dearly because I felt stupid. I felt stupid for going, okay, well, I don't want him running off if one of these fuckers howl. I'm going to tie him to this tree. I'm going to climb up on this big rock right up by this raging part of the river and show these fucking apes that this punk ain't no punk. And I howled as big and as loud as I could. And my pit bull just sat there. But I can tell you right now, he was scared out of his life. He was on to something I wasn't on to. And they're up there because there's all kinds of stories around Gifford Pinch. You just look online. That road that runs up along the river there.
Yeah.
I even talked to there's a female that's right there at the campground. She had a white husky mix, and my pit bull's in the truck acting all tough, and she's like, is he mean? I said, oh no, he just wants to get out and play. And she said, well, my husky's a little spunky, and she was older, and she'd been up there for a couple of years. And I said, well, I'm going to go up and squatch. And she's all, squatch? I said, yeah, I'm gonna go up here and look for Bigfoot. And she's, oh, my son believes in that crap. I ain't never seen him. And I saw signage. That was when I saw signage, and that's the last time I've not only been up there, but the last time I'd ever go up by myself, unarmed, and with my dogs. I wouldn't do that to my dogs. If I had to get the fuck out of there, oh God, I could not ever forgive myself for seeing one of my babies being attacked by one of these things, because they can grab. From what I've heard, you're weird. Yeah, they're the apex. The gun's just gonna make them mad.
Yeah, sometimes the dogs don't fare too good, and
No, from the stories I've heard, it's I'm 110% sure that they just look at the business end of a dog and they grab them by their neck. They might feel a little snap at their hand, because I work with pit bulls. I take pit bulls that are ravaged, and I make them my friend within 45 minutes, and I've been bit. These things probably get a little sniffed on, snap that neck, and just toss them up on the roof. Toss them under houses. They make a point of it. Like, look, I'm sorry I had to kill your dog, but I'm sure they eat a couple of them, even humans. The story that upset me, and it's weird, I'm actually kind of mad at these things. a story about a fellow that knew a guy that really was into mechanics. I'm a mechanic. And the guy built a Toyota that could really get up there in the woods. And, you know, I'm all about that. Let's go where no man can go. Let's be up there where nobody else has been. And this guy had told his buddy, hey, you know, I'm going to go up. Come on up. And his buddy couldn't make it, so he went up alone. And the fellow's wife, I think it was Pac West, that told the story. And this story really touched me. I shared it on Facebook. This thing's got me pissed. It took someone that was a good man. So this guy's up there, and he was alone. And he didn't come home on the appointed time when his wife knows when he gets to a certain pinpoint. He calls and says, I'm going to be home at a certain time. So she called the guy, and he went up there, and he looked, and all he could find was all this guy's stuff, some big tracks, and a drag trail next to that track that led up to the woods. And I've heard this whole story, and I felt it. I know what happened. This guy's spirit's talking to me. I'm part native. I know. This thing killed this guy and dragged him up to the woods, and that can happen to all of us.
Yeah, I've even heard of them killing those big Brahma bulls, man. They're like, you know, over 2,000 pounds, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
Max. I've dodged.
Their neck is
I've dodged cars. Hey, I've had a psycho woman fucking run at me with a car. I've dodged a car. That's 3,500 pounds of steel. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine something with horns that weighed the same amount that had its own little movement. It can move on a dime. It can move on a dime. These things can grab a limb and flip themselves up in a tree. I know that one was real close to me, and I've got respect for them. I have total. It got my attention. I don't look at the world the same.
Yeah, I mean, their necks can be fire, man. They could be like 2.5, 3 foot thick almost, you know. And there's a story from down in Florida where one, you know, just broke. The guy had a prize Brahma bull, and it snapped its neck, and they went after it and stuff with shotguns and shooting, and you know, it was a heck of a scene for sure. And I think it was like they got on one of the little farm roads there where it was cutting across, and it killed the bull. And one of the vehicles hit the creature, but it got up and took off. And you know, I mean, they can get hit by a car.
Vehicle's not going to take that out. I think you got to shoot it right in the brain. I think you got to literally cap that thing right in the brain. I really believe that it's something to be something to be reckoned.
Right. Yeah, there's something else. But anyway, man, you had some interesting stories there, man. I appreciate you sharing them.
You're welcome.
And you've got my number, man. If you have any other encounters or, you know, any other kind of stuff, if you go out there.
I've been trying to get some guys to go with me, and it's weird that nobody wants to go. I don't know if it's because of my enthusiasm, but you know, they're like no.
Maybe one of these days, man, if I ever get this, I'm starting to heal up a little bit from this swelling and stuff I have in my feet and legs. It's kind of gotten better here. I kind of changed a few things and only drink water now, you know, and stuff like that. And if I ever get to where I'm able to get out there and do the hiking and stuff, you know,
hey, if you want to come over to the Northwest, my friend, you can come stay.
That's what I'm saying. I always wanted to visit.
You can come stay. I got a place for you to come stay. You can stay at my place. I got plenty of room. And we'll go squatching, my friend. You're always welcome. I'm glad I got to share my story.
How far like the Redwood Forest stuff from you? That's one thing I always wanted to see.
Okay, so the Redwoods down in Oregon?
Yeah.
Because we don't have that. You got to go down to Oregon to that. So the Oregon coastline, we're an hour and a half from where I'm at my driveway. We'd take an hour and a half drive. We could be at the big redwoods, man.
That would be so cool. I always wanted to see those.
Hey, plan ahead. It's like this. I'm old and wise, so I work as little as I have to and play as much as I can. And you're always welcome here, my friend.
Well, thank you, man, and God bless you, and hold on the line there. And
God bless you too. Okay.
everybody out there in YouTube land, I hope you enjoyed that, and like I said, if you have a story, go to the description. You can see my email, brentonsawin@gmail.com, and consider contributing, either a one-time thing if you don't want to contribute each month through Patreon. If you want to be a Patreon, go join up there, and I'm looking to try to get about 2,000 or 3,000 Patreons, $5 a month, and get me a budget where I can go travel to these states and bring you some cool videos. I think it would be pretty fun to see, the adventures and stuff, the trips and everything. So
100% agreed.
All right. Well, until next time, YouTube land, we'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.